yourself over here today.
Am I?
Alex.
I'm about to text you too. I didn't start back.
You're probably scooting right along. I've seen you scoot out of here. You're not always going slow.
Yeah, looks good.
And it's too small.
Yeah, it could have been a little bigger.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be a little.
But
I thought it was gonna take up
I
more
thought it was
than
gonna
the
be the
wall.
next.
Yeah, yeah.
Where it dropped down.
Now they're talking.
About double the width, but.
Yes. Now they're talking about putting on my membership. Rickers over there. But we haven't gotten there yet. Oh, Alex took my pen. He was kidding. And then
Remember that there was that water main job, and the contractor contacted you and was like, we received the contract back. You know, I don't know why it's in the sun when I go look.
I know.
don't be stealing my pen. There'll be trouble.
I was actually just coming to bring it back to you.
Oh, uh-huh.
Wendy.
Sorry, you heard PCA.
That's all right. I can go home.
Yeah, you should probably turn that inside out if he's not here. You might as well sit the captain's chair.
Oh, that's for the big guy.
I like how it's named.
Won't take long, does it?
That's just so they know what I have on my plate this week.
Oh.
If they're trying to find me, that's where. Yep.
Couldn't get anybody to cover Paul for me, so.
What's that?
If I get called out.
Yeah.
That won't be,
He just won't answer.
that won't be
Thank
permitted.
you.
Just so you know.
Rover don't fall in.
Oh, is he gone?
He's gonna call my phone. I think.
I just mean if you leave, we won't have.
We won't have quorum,
Oh.
so you can't leave till we're done with this.
But Grover calls in. If Grover calls in.
I know.
What are you shaking?
Huh? Bills.
Oh, right there.
We'll just all go with you if you get called out. We'll just all go with you.
Oh, there.
Yeah, but she takes my car.
Where's the 13? We could give them that.
Yeah. When they stripped the 13 down, they apparently, when they had to pull the seats to get some of the stuff out, the stuff they found, I guess, was, I haven't seen everything in the box yet.
That's kind of scary.
It is. I can only imagine.
Huh?
I can do, I can.
It's okay. I don't know, am I calling Grover maybe?
I was wondering if it was out there, one house is going away. Yeah. I started looking at it, and I saw one back there. That's. I really don't care.
Hello, are you ready?
I'm not a call.
Okay, we're getting close.
Got everybody here?
Yep.
Call to order. Need to approve the agenda?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Move and approve the agenda, all in favor? Citizen opportunity to address the council. Anyone? Step up, said the spider to the fly. Seeing none, we'll
Consent agenda.
go with the consent agenda. Approve the previous minutes. Approve the bills. Updated liquor license. Dollar General and Family Dollar. Updated raffle license for the 155 celebration activities.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Moved and second to approve the consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. Mr. McClure, engineering.
Kyle?
And Mr. Clark.
Yes.
Okay.
Come on up, guys.
Discuss water plant project.
Yes.
So we came mainly to give an update on where things are at with the water plant project. I know there's some newer faces here than the last time that we were here to talk about it. So get us reintroduced, talk through everything, and then really talk through where we're at with getting going on the public relations side of things, getting information out to people. But quick background, in case some of you guys are unaware. So the water plant work is specifically being done for chloride compliance on the wastewater side, which is strange, but we use, here you guys use ion exchange softening, which means you gotta regenerate with salt. That salt then gets flushed down the drain, those chlorides go out the wastewater plant, and it's too high for your permit to discharge. So the goal of the project is to find some means to continue softening water in town without using basically ion exchange softeners so that you don't discharge as much salt. As a part of that, there was another project that was in the works and actually was bid out to put in reverse osmosis. That bid came in pretty high at the time. McClure was asked to do a third-party review of that, look through all the work that had been done, and see if there was any other possible alternatives that could be done. So we did that, and we presented this other technology, which is pellet softening. It's a lot like lime softening, if you've ever heard of that. But basically, you raise the pH of the water chemically to a point where hardness can no longer stay in it. It comes out of suspension with pellet softeners. It basically turns into sand, and then that sand is just a product that you can use for putting on roads, bedding pipes, anything like that. So the byproduct, instead of being chlorides in the water, is sand. As part of that, you guys decided to run a pilot to prove out that it would work. So we ran that pilot through the end of last year. Finally got all the report stuff back. It took about 2 or 3 months for Veolia to get us a report after the pilot was over, but it did work actually very well. We were able to take the hardness from 800 milligrams per liter on average coming in down to around 300 or a little less coming out, which is removing more than 75% of your hardness with this process. And it's actually really, really simple. It's just a simple chemical addition using caustic soda, which you already have at the plant. So that's what's been done up to this point. We've written a pilot summary on top of what Veolia, the company that provided that equipment for the pilot, has done. We're going to submit that to DNR for them to look through, buy off on the technology. We're also working on an update to your preliminary engineering report, which at that point we'll have a better idea of what actual costs will be to make the upgrade to the plant, to bring that technology in, and then also what the O&M might look like running that forward. And that was the big thing, is that we do have some preliminary operation and maintenance numbers on it. And in comparison to what the cost is for chemicals and electricity to run a membrane plant like a reverse osmosis plant, this is, at this point right now, it seems like it's a lot more cost effective to just feed the caustic, get the sand byproduct out, and have that as something that you can easily manage and get rid of with the equipment that you guys already have. So what we're here to do today, and Kyle's going to take over to walk through this, and this is the packet that we gave you, is just a public relations program that we've kind of set up to present to you guys to do. So another part of this too was people in town are still operating water softeners in their homes, and those softeners also use salt, and they provide, they cause some chloride discharge in the system. And when we looked at your sampling and everything from that number's right at the edge. When the water plant's not producing chlorides, when they're not regenerating, you're still discharging right at the limit. So the thought there is to get that information out and talk to the citizens so that they know that, hey, if I have a softener, maybe depending on how much salt you're using, maybe it should be adjusted. We got to get that number down so that when this is all said and done, you can still meet that limit. You're not over that limit because people are still softening in their homes. Not saying that they'd have to stop. We just want to make sure that if a softener's set to regen too often, or if it just regenerates nightly, or if it's an older one and it's not very efficient, We wanna get that information out there to them so that we can make that change, and that can happen now, because you're currently already providing soft water from the plant, the same as it will be when the project's done. So, Kyle, you guys have any questions on kind of what's happened up to this point? Anything about the treatment? No.
Clear as mud.
Yeah, that's pretty common.
Thank you, Austin.
Yeah.
Kyle Cott, project manager at McClure. Last time I was here, we did discuss about bringing the public relations piece and what that would look like, so that is in your packet. Just on the first page, Austin already covered the background of the project. Goals, we want to ensure the citizens of Pocahontas understand why the city is undertaking the project. Promote the benefits the project will have on the community, improved water quality, sustainable softening process, environmental compliance, reusable byproduct, reduced salt usage, modernized infrastructure, proactive planning. Execute a combination of concurrent informational and goodwill initiatives to support a positive response to the project. Educate citizens on how to adjust home softeners to minimize costs and reduce chloride discharge. Just a little recap of what Austin said there. So our audience would be the city staff, of course, council, property owners, business owners, and the public. Platforms, we have a couple different options. We do have a list in here for a price for a project website. And we also have some other social media channels we can use, such as Facebook and Instagram, to get the message out.
So what he's saying there is, we can actually host a website that would be specific just for that you could give to people. They could come and find this information, but we would also be preparing things that you could post on any social media outlets that you have, or social media things in town that you think would be a place where people might get that out. It's a little bit different, kind of a more modern way to get out and touch people and get this information in front of them, as opposed to just sending a flyer in their water bill. Because a lot of times, I mean, I get water bills, letters still, and most of what comes in those goes in the trash. And it's what happens. And with something like this, it always comes as you get the project done, and it's almost the day that your water bill increases, and everybody goes, well, what happened? Why is my water bill going up? This is to get out ahead of that, get the, not just to talk about getting softeners adjusted, but at least give a why you guys are moving forward with the project and spending the money that has to be spent.
Public forum, would that be a possibility?
Also a possibility, absolutely. We could get something scheduled and get it out there. If you wanted us to come and give a presentation the public could come to, that is definitely something that could be
Most
done.
definitely,
Be a good option. On the second page there, we just list the McClure team members, some other items there, but I think one important piece is the timeline of the project. So down 3/4 of the page there is timeline. I'll just go over this real quick. Report an IUP application to DNR by September 1st, 2025. Design would be summer 25 to summer 26. As funding is determined, McClure will provide PR service to keep the public informed on the following there. Bidding would be fall of 2026, and construction fall 2026 to summer of 2028. And this keeps us in compliance with the compliance schedule. We're still within that, so no issue there. And then on the last page, there's a little bit of fee information. There you can see for us to do the project website for you, it's $1,500, and then some additional hours billed as time and material estimated.
And that's kind of just to show, like, we didn't come with a proposed contract or anything for this specific thing, because it's really Kyle kind of called it, it's like an a la carte service kind of deal, like what's working or what isn't working, or as long as you guys want to do it. If you want to try to host a public forum at a different time or things like that, we would just be able to talk through all those things in time and materials. If we come and put hours into it, that'll make it happen, but it's not like we would do this for a set amount of money. There's a couple of items, and then, again, preparing things to post, whatever's working, we can do. Just trying to find the best way to get that information out, because it's always been difficult to engage the public about projects like this and make sure that they're as educated as they can be. Which I think, when you can do that, that's what helps you guys out the most, especially being on the council, because most of the time people don't pay that close of attention to these things, again, until they get their bill and they say, well, why is my bill, X amount of dollars more? So we really just wanted to come again, like I said, talk through it, touch base with new faces, present this public information campaign, mention that we do have the reports now for the pilot, and we're starting to submit that stuff to DNR. We're gonna be working through that preliminary engineering report phase, which is gonna give us those first steps at looking at funding options moving forward, and then kind of what that project cost and operations are gonna look like moving forward, which is directly gonna affect rates, and then the rates discussion and public information can come from that.
And from the funding perspective, I know you had a question about the CDBG. My understanding is March 1st, 2026, we'll be able to reapply for that.
Okay.
And since we're in line with the schedule, compliance, and everything's good there, we still have time to vet out all the funding opportunities to make sure you get the best financial situation for the project.
If that would, I'm sorry, if that would get voted down, do we have any backup solutions?
Yep, there's,
Oh, as far as if you didn't get the CDBG?
Well, I'm saying if CDBG gets voted down,
Oh, federally, you're
yeah,
saying?
federal.
Yeah, so you were already moving forward with the state revolving fund,
Okay,
which is a state-run program, which hasn't changed. They still have money that they call it loan forgiveness, but depending on the situation, you still submit to that, and there's a chance that they would give you an amount of loan forgiveness based on a whole bunch of factors. There's no idea how much that could be, but it could be equivalent to like that CDBG grant level. There's also a program that we've used quite a bit, which works well for newer technologies and emerging contaminants. It's called the WTFAP
okay.
grant process. I cannot remember what that stands for. I'm sorry, off the top of my head. I do know that's the letters of it, but that's one that it's kind of it's through the Iowa Economic Development Authority, and they actually like that one for like shovel-ready projects. So like you apply for it almost while you're in construction, and something standing out for you guys is you have one of the higher raw manganese
Okay.
numbers in the state, and manganese is kind of a big deal right now because it is a health hazard above certain levels. Not an issue for you guys with ion exchange, but if you didn't have that, your filters don't get it all the way out to below that health hazard level right now. That's also something to mention. This pellet softening system was able to remove 90 to 95% of the manganese, which would be gone before it ever got to your filters. So it was cool for me. I'm sure other people don't care so much, but it was really interesting.
Is our water quality unique?
Raw, yes. Raw wise, the amount of manganese you have and the hardness level straight out of the ground is pretty high. But the manganese level, you have around 1.5 milligrams per liter raw manganese.
Is setting over a manganese mine or something?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, wherever you're at in the Dakota aquifer, there's a lot of manganese and it is in the water. The only place I've ever seen it higher is in Shaler, Iowa. Otherwise, I don't know that I've ever done a project somewhere where it was above 1, and yours is at like 1.5 to 1.8.
What did Shaler do?
We're still working on that.
Still working on
Yeah, theirs is like 2.3,
Yikes.
and their hardness is like 300 or 400 milligrams per liter harder than yours. Yours is 800, theirs is about 1100. So, but yeah, as far as unique, you do have a couple of really unique things that do make it a little more difficult. Honestly, it's part of the reason the RO, when we really looked into that manganese is a huge problem for your RO system, the way that you were looking at doing it.
filters.
So how, you might have said this, how soon do we have to, should we be getting this out to the public?
I think, like, we would think, like, as soon as we can get, Kyle was gonna follow up with Laura after we presented this to you guys and kind of give an idea, and maybe,
Let you digest it for a little bit, but
But-
soon.
yeah, as soon as you can, because when we're talking, the main thing to talk about is like, if we can get softeners to start, getting reset or optimizing, in-home softeners and commercial softeners, because you already have soft water, right? Like the plant is putting out really great water quality, especially, I think it comes out right now on average at like 100 milligrams per liter, which is 6 grains. There's a lot of places that there's people that wouldn't even soften it anymore if it was at 6 grains. So the fact that you really don't even necessarily need to soften it any more than that. And then on top of that, like off the cuff, somebody that, like an average home that uses say 5,000 gallons a month, if they were going to zero, from 6 grains to 0, they would only need like 3 or 4 bags of salt a year, like 40-pound bags a year. So if you're using more than that, you're probably regenerating a lot more than you need to. So like, if you know anybody that's using like a bag a month or something like that, it might be worth looking into getting your softener adjusted to your water quality so that we can decrease the number of bags. And then that's the other side of the public relations thing. If you really only need that many, but you're buying 3 times that many, well, that's money you're spending on that. Then when your water bill, when the rates inevitably increase, well, if you're not buying all that salt, that does offset some of that rate increase too, so.
Maybe probably a good time.
I turn down a lot. I don't sell that much in town, really, anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
So the big problem here is the manganese?
Well,
It's the salt.
the
And
salt,
salt.
the real, so the reason that the project is happening is because of the salt. When it comes to finding a way to treat your water without using ion exchange softening with salt regeneration, because the nice thing about that treatment is it's like a sledgehammer. It's great for pretty much anything. Like, there's nothing wrong with it other than because your water is as hard as it is, to bring it down, you have to regenerate so often that you use a lot of salt. So like your discharge limit for chloride is 400, right under 400, it's 389 milligrams per liter. And on average, you guys discharge like 1,400 milligrams per liter, which gets to the level of, on certain days when it's higher than that, you could, honestly, it's enough where you could kill fish.
So the water softening is actually what's killing us.
Yeah. Now, if you change that, like we talked when we were looking at doing RO, the manganese becomes an issue there because the RO was after the filters, and the filters didn't remove all the manganese, and manganese can clog RO filters. So there's quite a bit to it.
And there's
These guys have been here
And there's no way to even say the wastewater treatment plant, there's no way to take it out.
No chloride. So like once chloride's in there,
you can't get it out.
You can't get it out. The only way to then get it out would be to membrane treat it again, which you still have a super concentrated side stream of chlorides. So the best way to take care of chlorides on the wastewater side is to find a way to soften water without salt.
There you go, Tom, your next project.
Yeah. I'll be retired by then.
So the byproduct is like sand?
Yeah. So you put in a seed sand, which is it's sand at a certain gradation that's pretty fine. And then as you run water through it at that adjusted pH, the hardness actually cakes onto the seed sand and it grows into, it's not really any bigger than sand, but they call it a pellet. And then you discharge those pellets pretty much onto the ground and the water drains out and you have sand. Yeah. Basically you're making limestone because mostly what you're getting is calcium and what you end up with is a limestone pellet.
I think I've seen a shower head that has that in there.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
So it's the exact same thing happening. You're just making it happen somewhere that you want it to instead of on all your fixtures and clogging up all your stuff.
That told me as much right there, so.
There you go.
All right, well, thank you for traveling up and giving us an update.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
We'll be in
Kyle,
touch.
yeah, we'll
Yep.
be in touch.
Okay.
Thank
Thank you guys. And if
Thanks.
you have any questions, just let Laura know or feel free to reach out to us. I'm more than happy to talk it through.
All right, sounds good, thanks.
Thank you.
When you say the public forum, what were you thinking?
He thinks he wants to tackle a bunch of public people in here chit chatting.
Yeah, keep them in here.
What?
These are old.
No, I just was wondering where you're, what you were, just what you were thinking.
There you go.
You know, the electrical way, or
You
the,
guys have a good night.
I don't check that enough. Being full. I think with the age of our population, I think it might be more.
We have
They could be,
we have a new maintenance garage, you know, we've never had, we could have like an open house or something.
we could, yep,
Kind
we
of
could grill burgers or
Something.
hot dogs or something.
something like that. Two things at once.
To get to draw,
Get people there,
'cause that'll be the big thing.
Can I
is to
see
get
the
them there.
and get the, you know, invite the kids to see the equipment and
Right.
So skip the wages.
what,
Let me talk about your water today. I just think about the draw to get somebody to even show.
yeah, try to get people there to talk about it.
Yeah, the more people we can get in one fell swoop.
What? Yeah, like you get the trucks and. Or just stop the Heritage Days parade and have a right now, it's been right in the middle.
Cops in front, so it's easy to stop it. I can stop it at like one. I have to throw on brakes. There you go.
We can build a float from there.
Hey, that'll do. Okay, any other comments on that? Okay, we're gonna go down to the, approve the residential 17 to 2025, the white lot, number 9, Park Prairie.
Missed a page of the copy.
Did we skip?
Yeah, we're skipping.
We missed a page of
She
the
had-
copy.
Yeah.
So we are gonna skip the wages, they're coming your way right now.
Okay.
So the first resolution, we did have Busky rewrite for us, and then I had him redo the resolution too, so it's the same verbiage, it's just something that makes more sense and I can just plug the names in instead of rewriting it every time. So when it comes to White and Hoping, it's the same document, they just get their own resolution. It'll go in the 28th paper. So it'll be posted, and they both wanna close on June 2nd, if we approve tonight.
Does it have to be posted in the paper more than once? Is that what we're?
No, they haven't been posted in the paper yet.
But what was the, but what was,
The amendment was posted in the paper, but not their
but what was
resolution,
the talk from last time that didn't get posted so many times?
that amendment. Yep. And we've got that all edited and ready to go.
And they were clear and concise on what the new agreement stated.
Yes.
And they were in agreement with that.
They all picked June 1st, which ended up being a Sunday to close on, so I gave them the option the 30th or the 2nd, and they both picked the 2nd. So Hopings have already paid for theirs, Whites have not, they're ready whenever I call them. But once we get it posted in the paper and all their stuff is signed, it goes right back to Busky and he finishes them. But it has the 18 months, it has all the covenants, it has all the everything. That's what was in your packet that I sent you for the weekend.
Does it have to, how long's it gotta run in the paper before?
Just 1 week.
Just
And as long as we agree on the resolution, it just goes from here. I do have a meeting Tuesday morning with another possible buyer for another lot, so I don't know which one for sure they're interested in. I think they're interested in the 40,000 one. So I don't know the number on that one. It is 4, yep, I think, I'm not sure. And that's a hometown family coming back. hokey people.
So, we need to approve a resolution?
And vote.
We doing them both at once or just one?
If you guys are okay, the wording is exactly the same on both of them. One is 17 and one's 18.
Separate.
Okay.
Okay, to approve,
I guess I'll make the motion to approve 17
Okay.
to 25,
Okay.
lot number 9.
I'll second that.
move second to approve resolution 17,
Roll call.
and we need a roll call. Brian?
Aye.
Okay, and Cody?
Yep.
Tom?
Aye.
Dean?
Aye.
Okay, moving on down to the next resolution.
I'll make the motion to approve 18 to 25, Holy lot number 7.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded to approve resolution 18, 2025. Brian?
Grover, can you hear us?
We go. Cody?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Dean?
Aye.
Okay,
Alright, thank you. Now we can go back to the wages.
okay, and explanation on that.
So the wages, since this started before July, the 10,000 per officer goes into their salaries now. So we have to have a resolution showing that we are acknowledging the 28E and the money we are getting from Lorenz. So that's what resolution 2616 is. Shows our active officers and what the new salaries will be.
And this money will be supplemented by the payment from Lorenz.
Oh, yes, yes, this is Lorenz money coming to us.
When's that go into effect?
It's already in effect, we've already been in it 2 weeks.
Alright.
They've already been paid once with this, Grover, if that helps.
Well, that's
This
fine,
time
I
it'll be-
just wanna know when it was enacted, or, I know we enacted it, I didn't know when it was.
Yep, it went into effect right, well, it went into effect right away, but we haven't had a meeting.
Okay.
Okay,
But this hasn't gone into effect yet, has it?
the salaries, yeah,
We have to vote on it.
we did before, but this is just giving it a resolution. We voted on 10,000 per officer, because we knew that was what Lorenz was giving us, plus more for Alex's benefits. So now it has a resolution tied to it approving the rest of it.
I don't know if we did. My understanding is we were starting with this 2-week pay period. So this would go into effect because the pay period ended Saturday, and so it would go for those 2 weeks. But that, it would be this upcoming 2 weeks, and that's why we were doing it on this Monday, was to say, since we haven't been paid for that yesterday, is to make those adjustments for the last 2 weeks that we've been covering.
Yes, I am saying it wrong, he's right,
Okay.
yeah, I'm saying it wrong.
I was like,
I was remembering that, we had to vote on that, yeah.
yeah, I was like, no, because I was gonna say, my paycheck was
So it
still on
hasn't-
the same.
So it hasn't gone into
It
effect.
hasn't gone.
Oh,
It has not
I'm
gone.
sorry, my bad. Grover, did you catch that?
Kinda.
Okay.
So now we are
Now we
gonna
are
vote.
official.
Now we're gonna vote
Yep.
to distribute that money.
Yep.
To approve resolution 16, 2025.
I make a motion to approve resolution 16, 2025 to, increase the wages from the 28E agreement.
I second.
Moved and seconded. Okay,
Roll call.
Brian,
Brian,
Aye.
Cody,
Aye.
Yep.
Tom,
Aye.
Dean.
Aye.
Okay,
thank you, sorry about that. Okay, next is just a map again showing us where we're at. We may sell lot 4. We're okay. So now we're looking at the library. Yep, the mayor just has to let us us all know, this is just FYI, there's no more action on these items, but the mayor needs to let us know who they're going to put on the board at the library. Sure.
Okay. The library board recommended Charmaine Disher, as a representative for a volunteer position open at the library board. Charmaine resides here in town, is willing to serve on the library board for 6 years, and the above term would expire in 2032.
Just FYI, so nobody knows.
Any discussion?
Good choice.
Okay. That will be done then. Good.
Okay. Next is an estimate to have the water tower power washed. This is something we've been talking about between, well, all of us. It's time to have it power washed so we don't have to paint it. Because the paint costs a whole lot more. And with the wear and tear on the tank, this will give us a bigger window before we have to paint
Just the inside and outside.
outside.
That's it.
So it's 3,600. Just so you know. The last 3 pages, this is something going across legislation. You can see which counties in Iowa have signed it. It is against the 91-foot semi-trailers going up and down the highways instead of the 52-foot because of the wear and tear on the roads and the infrastructure. So I did sign it on behalf of Pocahontas. If you want me to retract, I will. But I don't think we need any more wear and tear on our bridges. The whole thing is the bridges. They're trying to protect, because we're not gonna have the funding. The state's not gonna have the funding for all the bridges that are gonna need repair. And if we go to bigger trucks, it's just gonna tear them up more. Is everybody okay with that idea?
Police chief have any input on that?
No, and like I said, I'm kind of actually surprised to even see that, because like I said, I mean, it's still in the works and whatnot, but I don't know that they would have gone to 91. It's still gonna be a GVWR question. It's a weight problem, not a length problem.
This is just that we're saying we're not for it.
We're not
It's not,
for it. It's not official.
it's not,
We're just letting.
they're
them
not
know.
taking our vote on it, it's just,
Yeah.
I worry more about the automated driving semis still at this point than I do anything else.
That's not even.
I mean, there's some cool technology, but it's scary.
What happens to the weight distribution then at that, with these longer trucks?
So then you'd have to put an extra axle underneath it. So I mean, the key is your distribution is always gonna be the same. So whether you do it in length or not, and I don't know if you ever, I don't know how many people ever traveled to Michigan, because Michigan operates with a Canadian pass. That's why they have all those trucks up there. You'll drive by a semi with 13 axles on it, and you're like, holy crap. But they're allowed to carry a lot more weight in Michigan than any other state. So it's kind of interesting to see. So honestly, all you're gonna do is you're just gonna put more axles under it and be longer, and that distribution is gonna have to be spread equally. I mean, we could get into the CMVE of it, but you'll be bored. So, but yeah, you're limited only so much weight to the strength of the axle. So, like a trailer. Huge trailer.
All right, reports.
Again, if you guys have any questions, although I don't know much, I mean, I know a lot about it, but it's not really necessarily my place, but there's a lot coming out about this 911 bill that the House log rolled here the other night, and my favorite is when the state always log rolls a bill, and, so now we've passed this, that the state can now take 911 funds from the local authorities, and so in our case, our 911 authority, of course, goes through the county, Spencer, it goes through Spencer PD, every county is different on where 911 money gets applied. So the state basically, in efforts to support their system, they've never had a funding mandate for the digital radios and everything else. So all of a sudden they decided to do that. And it's caused a lot. There was a big press conference today. Iowa Emergency Management, well, the local emergency managements all came out against the Iowa Emergency Management because they don't feel that they're fully in support of the local counties. There was no discussion about this. So obviously I would redirect you to Russ Juergens as the 911 coordinator, but in case you see it, because I've been getting some weird questions like, so now when I dial 911, it's going to cost me extra money? And I'm like, no. That's not the problem. It means that there could be less money though for the counties to upgrade their systems, because now the state is going to take a proportion of that. Not that they work that out, but they could take some money, but nobody knows how much. So, I think it's just got everybody scared, and it was, I'll openly honest to say, it's kind of dirty, so. But that's my opinion on log rolling anyway. Other than that, everything's going well. We've had, nothing too major, serious crimes. Things with Lorenz have been pretty basic. 12 cats here, and you know, I chased a 6-year-old block and a half, so I actually can run after small children. Just so you know that. Other than that, no, nothing beyond the norm.
Nothing for you? Kyle is gonna be gone next 2 weeks for training, June, whatever dates, 8th through the 12th. So he'll be in Ames this time, this will be through Iowa State. The electric guys just got back from IAMU at Ankeny. More training for them. Craig went with them, so he was teaching it, so he was there. So those two are coming up. Friday's a half a day, we're closed Monday. And the sledge truck went off to have its inside fixed today. So we know that's moving along. That's really about all I have. This back page is just where I am this week, just so you can see. The third week of the month is always busy for me, so just let you know when my mornings and lunches, and I get to go to West Bend, and, well, the Solid Waste Commission is here in town this month, so I don't have to go to Morehouse. Council,
I don't have anything.
nothing? Brian, do you have anything you wanna share?
Oh, I'm good.
Okay,
I've got one thing here, and I don't know if this time do it or not, but in case this first lot, what is it, lot?
it's lot one.
Lot one.
Talked about it before.
Yeah.
Well, well,
Yep, Cody, what is
We've
that
never
that's going
really-
in there? Is it a pipe or the?
There, the golf course as well.
Well.
Is on that corner.
how can we possibly put a structure on there? For residents, I mean,
I don't know if we would ever be able to.
I don't know, if we have the option. to
Unless
sell
you
it.
could sell lot 1 and 2 together. They build in the center or something, but eventually you'll have to figure out something, cause once they get full, somebody will have to maintain lot. You'll have to maintain that lot if,
Yeah,
there's some talk about across the street there coming in and doing something with that.
they've asked about it.
they've asked about it.
That's something you don't wanna consider, or?
I didn't think we wanted to consider that right now with the price of the lots, you know, to make it fair for everybody, but I don't know.
It's kind of a special situation,
Yeah,
so I don't
yeah.
know, I mean, it's up to you guys, of course, but
Something was said about putting a shed up there, but
Yes.
they cannot do that.
they cannot, it has to be
It
a
has to
living
be on
quarters.
their property, has to be on their connected to their house lot.
Oh,
You know, it can't be,
they can't build another house, put their kids over there, so
They could
they
build a
can't have
house.
A house,
not a shed.
not a shed, that's what I'm saying. She has not asked since, I think she's waiting to hear from me, so. Alright, I did take Iowa Electrics out to the armory today too, I forgot to tell you that. They said sometimes they can help fill those buildings when somebody's up looking for space. Like they had a printing company somewhere in Emmitsburg or something that they could fit in a building, so he said he'd keep an ear out. It wasn't so much for Iowa Electric themselves, but it is their power out there, so. Other than that,
Anything else? Not from me. Entertain a motion.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
okay,
What do you do?
Huh?
You go to YouTube and stuff.
Everybody was confused.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right, Brian, we're done.